mist is hanging low. Boots crunch the frost where the grasses grow. Rifle slung in a heart that's steady. The wild calls out and I'm already ready. The hunt is on and the woods don't lie. Tracks in the dirt under an open sky. It's a man, a plan, and the earth in sync. The hunt is on, take a breath, don't blink.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Inside Spread podcast. My name's Kenny. I'm your host. I am here again with Travis today. He's been my sidekick now, has going on several weeks here, and so welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me again, and I apologize. My camera's not working, and we don't know why. Have to figure that out later, but I'm still here.
Yes, technical difficulties do happen in the world of podcasting, so it's no worries. We can still hear them, so we'll be good to go. But first, we got some breaking news for you. It's pretty much hot off the press. We just got to let you know that Mile Hansen, the world record holder, white-tailed deer hunter, has passed away at the age of 81. Travis, do you have any thoughts about that?
It's just kind of came out of nowhere, but I guess it's not surprising. 81 is pretty good ripe old age. As I said before we got on here, he went out, having never seen his record broken, May we all be so lucky,
Yeah, that's for sure. It's obviously a great feat, and hopefully, honestly, it's be cool if it is broken at some point, but also the longer it goes, the more cool lore that it has going for it. So rest in peace, Mile Hansen, and hopefully his family feels comforted that he went out on top.
Yeah. I did hear that he sold it a while back. I don't know if that's true or not. I couldn't find anybody to confirm it, but I guess it would make sense if he was getting up there in age, like he wanted to pass it on, make sure it was shared.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, similar to some of the other bucks we've talked about, I'm sure there's lots of replicas out there in museums and Cabela stores and things like that. All right, well, we'll get on to our topic of what we're really here about today, and we're going to talk about some turkeys. We're getting close to turkey season, and specifically with Travis, we're going to talk a little bit more specifically about Michigan in general, but obviously some of this stuff will still probably apply to some other places. But of course, as usual, make sure you check your own state's regs and make sure that you're staying on top of those things. So what do you got for us today, Travis?
Yeah, so I was thinking I would just do like a rundown of, what you need to do to come turkey hunting in Michigan, because I think it's pretty affordable, especially if you're coming from out of state. Maybe you're from the West
Mm-hmm.
and you want to notch that Eastern turkey in your slam belt. Michigan, I think, is a pretty good option for that. We've had a real resurgence of the wild turkey here. We were talking about this before we came on, but when I was a kid, late 80s, early 90s, we didn't see turkeys here, and they have just boomed in the last 30, 35 years. Really started taking off early aughts, I think, and now they're just everywhere. Um, you know, I criticize the Michigan DNR about a lot of things, especially our deer population, but I cannot criticize them for what they've done with the turkey. I mean, it is a robust, healthy population. There's a lot of like 2-year-old birds, which I think a lot of hunters would be more than happy to shoot, in that
Mm-hmm.
20-pound range. Um, so yeah, it's a good state to come and notch a turkey, and the pressure is fairly low compared to what our deer go through.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real conservation success story across much of the Midwest. My home state back when I was a kid is Minnesota, and we didn't even attempt a turkey hunt when I was a kid, and now it's a booming opportunity in that area as well. And we were saying before, my mom lives in a very suburban neighborhood, and there's turkeys just walking down the street. So like it's everywhere. It's not just in the woods. It's in your local neighborhood in the Midwest these days. So there's plenty of opportunity. So we'll see. Let's hear a little bit more about what's going on in Michigan. What are the population numbers estimated to be like right now?
You know what? I'm not exactly sure. Let me look it up real quick.
Gave you a really twisted question to start off.
That's the one thing I did not think to look up. Uh, This National Wild Turkey Federation thing, it's saying that hunters bag about 40,000 a year.
It's a pretty good number.
Yeah, and I mean, I did see some numbers on like success rates, and I want to say it was like 40 to 48% or something like that, which I don't think is too bad.
No,
Um, yeah, I can't find any numbers right off the top of my head, but we have a lot,
but
I'll say
yeah,
that. Um,
good.
I've
But
seen flocks of 30 or 40 of them in my area during deer season, just going through there and multiple toms in there, beards in that 7 to 8 inch range. Uh, there's just so many.
yeah,
Um,
I was reading an article just this morning, or it was kind of a Facebook post slash article from Mike Chamberlain, who's obviously a very famous turkey guy, and he was talking about how that even at this time of year in mid-February, we're looking at turkeys are starting to strut around. Usually the females are not very receptive at this time, obviously, because it's not breeding season, but they're starting to make their moves and starting to, you know, do their thing. And so it's kind of cool to for people that are interested in maybe going doing some scouting and looking around. This could be a time to watch some turkeys do their thing.
yeah, and I should mention that, at least from my limited experience, this is only going to be my second year turkey hunting, but they are very responsive to calls. They are very responsive to decoys here in Michigan. I
Mhm.
can't say the same for our deer population. Our deer population is just screwed up, but the turkeys are doing what they should be doing, and they're fairly easy to scout, at least here in the southern half. I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities if you can find the right area.
Yeah, for sure. uh, yeah, go ahead and cover what are the areas of Michigan, what do they kind of look like, how are they different landscape wise for turkey and things like that.
Sure. So Michigan is divided up into three TMUs, so Turkey Management Units. And I don't know where they came up with the designations for these things. They've got ZZ, NN, and M. So the M is the Upper Peninsula. Uh,
Hmm.
NN is like kind of the northern lower, and ZZ, that's the area I'm in. It's the southern half of the state. The line kind of goes from the northern border of Muskegon County all the way across to kind of Bay County. So kind of the almost to the thumb area there. And
Hmm.
it's kind of weird the way they've got this structured. I don't know why they have it structured the way they do. Um, but there's kind of different season dates based on the area. Um, so, for example, for the Upper Peninsula for M, April 18th through May 31st is your season dates.
Hmm.
Um, and they actually eliminated, there used to be a June portion of the hunt, and I've seen some people online who are pretty upset about that because they like to take their kids out,
Yeah,
and they didn't have to like pull them out of school or anything, because school would be out at that time. And so I'm not sure what the reasoning is for getting rid of that, but
it's
basically
interesting.
there's several different hunt numbers, and some of them can be used for uh, different. I'm sorry, that's my aunt and uncle's thing going off, their alarm for their driveway. I'm
No
cat
worries.
sitting right now. Uh, just wanted to explain what that was. But yeah, there's different hunt numbers for the different sections. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, six different hunt numbers for three turkey management units. Um, Probably hunt number 234 is your safest bet because that covers the entire state.
Okay.
There's an unlimited number, so it kind of guarantees you a tag. The
Hmm.
drawback is you can't hunt public lands in the southern part of the state, so in the ZZ zone. Um,
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird the way they do things because they do a draw for some of these tags. There's quotas in the M and NN uh areas, and it's 6,000 for M and 18,000 for NN.
Mhm.
Now, I do know that a lot of these draw areas, uh, there are leftover tags, and you can buy those at a certain point. We're already past the draw phase of this, so if you're thinking about it, don't panic because
Mhm.
there's still opportunities available.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, limit is one bearded turkey. Um, yeah, if you are going to do the application period for next year, if you're planning out, this year it was January 1st through February 1st, and
Mhm.
it cost $5 to apply for one of these areas. Um,
Certainly not bad at all.
yeah, like I said, I have not heard of anybody really having a problem getting a tag here. Uh, it's it's usually pretty easy. You can get something and you can find somewhere to hunt. Um, the weird thing about the ZZ area is they've got three different uh tags you can buy basically. So they've got April 18th through May 1st with a quota of 8,000. They've got May 2nd through the 31st with a quota of 8,000. Those are both draw. So you could hunt public land with those. But then they have another ZZ, which is unlimited. So
Hmm.
there's an unlimited number of tags that can be doled out, but you can only hunt private land with that. So that's like a buy over the counter thing. You might have to do some door knocking and secure, a different area if you're going to go that route.
All right. Well, that brings me to another question. What is the appetite for turkey hunting in Michigan? Considering it's not been a historical, has a historical background in turkey hunting in the area.
Yeah, so there's a lot of turkey hunters here, but I think generally the appetite is it's not nearly as much pressure as you're going to get during deer season. Historically, we've always been a deer hunting state. I did hear a few shots last year when I was out there during turkey season, so there are people out there doing it, but I just don't think it's at the same level. And when you start like kind of researching around about different areas, like people will even say like the public lands, it's not the same as deer season. Uh,
Hmm.
Very likely you can go into a public place and find an area all to yourself. Actually, most of the advice I found online, people were saying that they had more problems with uh, people looking for morels early in the year than they did other turkey hunters.
Yeah,
So,
that makes
so
sense.
yeah, there's a ton of turkeys here, and yeah, the pressure is just it's just a lot lower,
Yeah,
at least on when compared to the deer. Um, like I said, the birds seem to behave a lot more naturally than our deer do, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. So it sounds like there's some good opportunity on public land, but uh, some people probably coming out of state are probably going to look for something a little bit more guaranteed, and you might have to, do some door knocking or calls or whatever to get a hold of some people. But do you feel like farmers or people in the area who own property are open to turkey hunters more than deer?
That's a hard question to answer. It's probably going to be a little bit easier to get permission for turkeys than deer. People are a little bit more closely guarded in the state about letting people on their property for deer because they like to hunt deer there.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I feel like you probably would have a little bit more success uh, getting access to some private grounds. Depends on who
yeah,
Uh, it might just be a matter of going out and doing some old-fashioned door knocking. You never know.
yeah, yeah. Get it. Put the boots on the ground on the road too, not just in the woods.
For sure.
Um, yeah. What other stats and things that you have about Michigan that would be interesting to some people?
Yeah, so I thought I'd just talk a little bit about the license fees, just so people
Sure.
know what they're getting into.
Hmm.
Um, because I think they're pretty reasonable. One thing in Michigan, you have to buy a base license.
Okay.
Um, that's just their thing. You buy a base license and then you can buy other tags on top of it. don't know if this is comparable to other states. It's been a while since I bought an out-of-state license, but
Yeah, it's comparable to some. I've hunted a few
okay.
different ones that you have to have a hunting license, and that is different than your tag.
Yeah, it's just weird the way they do it, but the base license, it's $6 for youth, $5 for seniors, $11 for residents, and $151 for non-residents.
Mhm.
Um, for a youth, you're going to need a DNR sports card, which is that's only an additional dollar. The
Okay,
sports card is basically like if you don't have like a driver's license or something like that.
that makes
So
sense.
it's not going to apply to too many people, I don't think. The
Mhm.
turkey license itself, though, $15 for youth, $15 for residents, $6 for seniors. Uh, for non-residents, 15 bucks. So, talking total non-resident fees, if you're buying one of these over-the-counter tags after the fact, 166 bucks. If you're putting in an application for one of these areas, 171 bucks. I did
Not
some
bad.
looking at like Ohio and Indiana, and Michigan comes in way under these states. So I think it's pretty decent option if you're looking to come in from out of state.
Yeah, that does sound very reasonable. I mean, even yeah, look at prices today across where a lot of people like to go, which is out west to do these fun, interesting hunts. It's not even like comparable.
Yeah.
So that's pretty affordable. I mean, you're thinking about it. Hopefully, if you're going and you have some experience turkey hunting, that you'll be able to knock one down. So there's that portion of it, and you're thinking about, hey, maybe it's about 20 pounds worth of meat, maybe a little bit less here and there. How much time and effort and fun you have harvesting that turkey, and is it worth 150 bucks plus your travel and things like that? Or some other places you could be looking at twice that much and end up with the same turkey, same type of turkey.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're coming in from out west and you just want to notch that part of your slam, I think it's a good option.
Yeah, definitely. So what else is going on in Michigan that's interesting about turkey hunting these days compared to maybe not even that
Well,
long
I
ago?
I, I was thinking I'd just kind of talk about maybe where you'd want to hunt and what areas would be for what people, I guess.
Yeah.
I've been to all 83 counties in Michigan, so I've seen pretty much everything the state has to offer.
Hmm.
Um, I haven't hunted it all, but I do know of some areas, and I did a little bit of research to get some numbers on where the record book birds are coming from too.
Hmm.
Uh, so kind of in the southern, yeah, we'll start with Lower Michigan. Uh, so Lower Michigan, the majority of the population lives down here. So
Hmm.
we've got a lot of agriculture, we've got a lot of fields. Um, it's pretty flat for the most part. So if you're running and gunning, it's not going to be too strenuous on you. Um, and we've got some decent scattered public lands around. In my area, I've got the Crane Pond State Game Area and the Cornish State Game Area. They're both
Hmm.
kind of scattered. Uh, those are actually a little bit more hilly than the other parts of Michigan. Some glaciers tore through there like 100,000 years ago, so might be a little bit challenging, but there is some ag on there. So, and I'm driving past these areas all the time because it's in my
Hmm.
area, and I saw a few trucks there last spring, but not very much. So I think it could be a really good area. Um, North of me, the Allegan State Game Area, a little more wooded, a lot of two tracks. So if you like that run and gun style, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, Ottawa County and Kent County, they both produce a lot of birds. Uh, in Kent County, you've got the Rogue River State Game Area. It's kind of heavily forested, so it'll be a little bit more challenging probably. Most of the record book birds, uh, St. Clair County on the east side, on the north side of Detroit, produces the most record book birds in the commemorative Bucks of Michigan record book.
That's
Um,
interesting.
yeah, I don't know why. That county is also pretty heavy ag county, so really flat. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of public land opportunities there, so you'd have to do some door knocking. Um,
Yeah.
Clinton County, that's kind of in the middle of the state. It's kind of the same thing. A lot of ag, mostly private. There is Sleepy Hollow State Park, which they do allow hunting, and I've been in there. It's
Mhm.
pretty hilly, so it would probably be a challenge. But it's something that, if you're looking for that, if you're looking to kind of run and gun the birds down, that'd probably be a place to do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they do call it those turkeys ridge runners, so they like to sit on the top of the hills and go up and down low. And so some of those little hilly areas are actually can create some opportunities for you.
yeah. Um, So let's talk northern Michigan. And when I'm talking northern Michigan, I'm talking lower northern. Um,
Not the UP.
Not the UP. We're talking from, like Muskegon County kind of upwards.
Yeah.
Um, so this is the NN unit, whereas that the areas I just mentioned were the ZZ unit. Um, Hold on a second here. So yeah, the thing to know is like once you kind of get past like that Muskegon County area, it does start becoming a little bit more big woods.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot less ag. Um, some of the woods are going to be pretty dense. It's going to be a little bit tougher turkey hunting. And there's just not as many people there. Like, there's some logging operations. There's, some, like oil and gas operations up that way. But for the
Hmm.
most part, there's just not much up there. It's just a lot of wilderness.
Yeah.
It's one of the least populated, areas. But Lake County has a reputation, especially around the Baldwin area. You've got the Huron Manistee National Forest, and there's
Hmm.
just a ton of campgrounds there. So if you want to come up and set up like a turkey camp in that area, that would be a good place to do that. Um, like I said, not a lot of ag. You'd probably have to do a lot of scouting, a lot of studying of maps ahead of time.
Yeah.
Uh, One thing you could probably do up there, because there's so many quiet dirt roads and everything, you could drive down those roads at night, and hit your locator call probably and just, try to find some birds to target in the AM.
Yeah.
Um, I do recommend having a good GPS unit if you're going to go into the northern lower areas, just because all those two tracks look alike. And so it's pretty easy to get turned around up there.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to know where you're at, and cell service can be a little bit spotty up there.
For
Um,
sure.
yeah, I spent a lot of time in Roscommon County, Roscommon State Forest. That's another one I got on here. Lots of camping opportunities. The woods are very dense, so I imagine it would be pretty challenging, but it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Uh, the other area
It
I've got
seems
is the
it seems
Pigeon
like
River.
turkeys kind of like diversity a little bit. So if you're, just hanging out in those big pine trees that are getting locked, they're not might not be always the best place, but maybe the state
Yeah,
forest have a little bit more diversity with some hills and some different types of flora and fauna going around, and that gives them a little bit more diversity.
yeah. The other area for that unit I was going to mention is kind of the Pigeon River State Forest. That one kind of spills over the county line, so it's in Sheboygan and Otsego counties. Uh, Ernest Hemingway used to frequent there in his youth, I believe. But again, it's going to be some bigger woods, lots of winding two tracks. But I've heard some good things about that area. I haven't hunted it, but there's a lot of people saying, there's very little pressure, so it's a place to consider.
Sounds good.
Um, the last place we could talk about is the Upper Peninsula. And
Hmm.
honestly, if I was coming in from out of state to hunt turkeys, I would not go to the Upper Peninsula unless, I really, really wanted a challenge. Um, when I did some research on this, there's like three or four counties in the Upper Peninsula that have never produced a CBM qualifying turkey. So if you're going up there to hunt turkeys, you're probably not going to see, one with like a 10-inch beard up there.
Yeah.
Um, if you do, you're going to have to work for it. Um, but there are two counties there. If you are going to hunt up there, which the UP is gorgeous. I love going up there.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
but most of it is just it's just forest and there's just not much else. But
Yeah.
if you go to Menominee County or Delta County, those are the two kind of exceptions in the UP. Those counties are pretty heavy ag.
Okay.
You know, Menominee County has the Escanaba River State Forest.
Okay.
So there's some opportunities there. Uh, Delta County, Delta County looks like the southern part of the state, actually. When I visited there, there's a lot of fields and stuff there. So it's probably a little bit easier. You might have to do some door knocking there though, because I don't think there's as many public opportunities.
For sure.
But
It'd be
yeah,
interesting.
if I
The whole idea you talked about earlier about how the UP is ending their season earlier. It seemed like it could be a great place for a late season hunt. You know, you push back that start date, maybe you push it far enough back that you end up into late June instead of doing it so early. It would be a great spot for somebody to get like an extra opportunity after their season's over. You would think.
like I said, this year they eliminated the June hunt, so
I
but
know. I'm just saying
May
that it could be a
31st,
good
but
idea in the future. I'm
yeah,
surprised they did that.
yeah, I still don't know why they did that, but yeah, if you are going to hunt the UP, I would say bring warm clothing. I
Hmm.
know some people will be thinking April and May, well, what do I need more? Trust me, as somebody who's camped up there a lot, who's camped up there at those times of year, it's going to get colder than you think, especially at night. Uh, so just something to consider.
All
And
right.
actually, for the northern lower, I'd say the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when I was living in Minnesota, I was a college baseball coach and a high school baseball coach. And so that's the same time of year. And inevitably, 40 degrees and wind is like the best that you're going to get most days. So, uh, good luck. Like you still are going to have to pretty much wear your winter attire when you're in those Midwest states during April and May. And you might get a couple days where you're like, oh, it's 65, 70, and this is nice. But in general, expect the worst. It's probably going to be about 40, 45 most of the time you're actually hunting. So make sure you're prepared for that.
For sure. Yeah. And the other recommendation I would make, like, anyone who's going to turkey hunt in Michigan is I would be prepared to sit, a good chunk of the day. I killed my bird last year at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Uh, he kind of came into the field and he had a couple of hens with him, so I didn't even bother calling to him. I was like, I'm just gonna sit and wait and see what happens. And eventually he saw my Jake decoy and he decided that he had to come check it out. Um, so if you have the time and you're patient, and you can make it work. Um, Generally speaking, I would say if you want to sit in a blind and you want to, kind of be more tactical on like ambushing a bird, I would stick to the southern part of the state. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to do more of a run and gun type hunt, and you want to track these birds down and, you know, you want a real challenge in trying to find them, I would say go north.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It'd be more of it. Call and see if you can locate them and chase them around the state forest versus, yeah, sitting in your blind. But, everyone has their own type of style. And
yeah, I
sometimes
feel like
there's,
there's something for everyone there.
yep. Yeah, an opportunity for everyone and be I like doing both things. I like to have the opportunity just to sit and hang out and see what comes in, but I also enjoy doing a little walking, putting some miles on. So I think have that opportunity, you can do both.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything else that is Michigan turkey hunting focused that you got and that you're thinking about today?
Not much I can think of off the top of my head. Like I said, just a very robust population, and I think it's a little bit of an overlooked state. Like I
Yeah.
said, I would never recommend someone deer hunt here. I mean, Michigan is a state that could be a big buck state, but isn't,
Mm-hmm.
just because I don't think our herd is very well managed. But man, these turkeys, they're great, you
Yeah.
know, and you'll see a lot of toms. I saw a lot of toms last year, the one I shot, it was probably 2-year-old bird, 9.5 inch beard on it. Just missed the commemorative Bucks of Michigan record book. I think it's 12 inches for single beard turkey, but mine only had like 7-8 inch spurs on it, so it was like 11 and an eighth or something like that was my score. Um,
Nice.
and the guy who does my Euro mounts, he brought his son out and killed one in the same field as me like a week later, and he was even closer. He was like 11 and 7/8 on that. That's two birds in a week from the same field, you
Yeah.
know. Uh, that's just how many are out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I got your video last year from your hunt, so I'll if you're following us on social media, I'll repost that video around the time that we release this episode so that you can check that out.
It was an
Yeah.
exciting hunt. I killed that bird at 6 yards. He was a little bit closer than I wanted to for my first turkey. But man, like I got such a rush out of it. I've been counting down the days for this year.
For sure. I'm excited to get some turkey hunting out there with my kids again. It should be fun. We have to, of course, work around their sports schedules and try to figure out when a good weekend is, but we definitely will be out there doing some turkey hunting this spring. Excited about it.
Where the air smells sweet, echoes of the woods, where the heartbeats meet, freedom runs wild under nature's dome. Down by the pine, it feels like home. Crisp wind whispers through the autumn gold, stories of the land, both new and old. Tracks in the dirt, the trail calls my name. Out here in the wild, it's all just the same. Down by the pines, where the air smells